welcome back to the latest episode of On the Grass with myself, Amy Russell, alongside Peter Lansley and Daniel Britton. And today we are delighted to be joined by current Mansfield Town Manager Nigel Clough. Second time on the podcast?
It is, yeah. I think it was last year.
Yeah. How's your week been this week? How are you preparing ahead of your big game at the weekend?
Well, we've had two games already, Saturday, Tuesday. Two tough ones. Should have probably won them both, but we've got two draws. So it's we've not even really considered preparing for Arsenal yet. It's just been about those two league games because we're in a slightly perilous position in the league. So that is the priority by far.
Yeah. And you're going to do a quick icebreaker just to kind of...
So, obviously you've got Arsenal on the weekend. Massive game against a club who are top of the Premier League. So what we're going to do, as a lot of the audience watching are at grassroots level, grassroots coaches, we're going to kind of strip it down to that level. So we're going to pick a team that's got a few links around here. Let's say Duffield Dynamos. So let's say Duffield Dynamos, let's say under 16s, under 17s type age, have a massive game against, let's say, top of the league, in the cup game against someone a bit above. How would you say on one session a week a grassroots coach, we'll give you 30 seconds, so wait for the time to start. How would you say a grassroots coach should plan their sessions around that to prepare their players?
First.
So we're going to start, sorry. Alex, you got the time ready?
First of all, they should concentrate on themselves because you don't know too much, especially in what the opposition are going to be, and that's certainly the case for us on Saturday. And to a certain degree, every other team, you can do too much sort of in-depth preparation and say the opposition are going to do this, that, and everything else. And then when they don't do that on the actual day of the game, players sometimes look a bit flummoxed and puzzled. Oh, what do we do now? This is, so. Concentrate on yourselves, get the absolute maximum rate you can, and do what's best for your team, and then take care of itself.
Perfect, right on the whistle.
Right on the whistle. Just kind of carrying on with the Arsenal, obviously that's the headline at the moment. How are the preparations for that game on Saturday different to every other game at the weekend, or are they similar?
They're easier because we don't know what Arsenal are going to do.
Yep.
We don't know who they're going to play. You don't know what formation they're going to play. When we're playing against the teams week in, week out in League One, we can look back at the last few and know the team's going to be pretty similar to that one. With Arsenal, they've got a big game at Brighton on the Wednesday night before. Then they've got Champions League next week. We think we've got a big game against Reading next Tuesday. What they've got either side is on a different level. So I'm sure when you're trying to win the Premier League and the Champions League, the FA Cup will be down the pecking order a little bit in their list of priorities. So I think within their 25-man squad, they could pick any 11 to wipe the floor with us without breaking sweat. Such is the goal and the talent in the Premier League and the quality of their players. So I don't think they'll be worrying too much about us. In a lot of ways, we won't be worrying about them too much. We're just saying, it's a free hit for us. Let's go out, enjoy it, and have a go.
Is it difficult from the other perspective? So I presume you've been in times where you're playing the underdog. Is it difficult to kind of keep your players, keep the pressure off them, and keep them kind of...
Well, we're the underdog most of the time when you're at Mansfield. Especially when you're in, seriously, we're in League One with 8 ex-Premier League clubs. So with a lot of teams with big resources. So we're the underdog most weeks. But I don't mind that. We're certainly the underdog when we went to Sheffield United and to Burnley a few weeks ago. We found the 2 early rounds in the FA Cup the hardest in lots of ways. We got drawn at Harrogate at home in the first round proper. We scraped through with a late deflected goal. We then went up to Accrington Stanley in the second round. We were all but out in extra time with 5 minutes to go, and a lad popped up with an equaliser and we won on penalties. So they're much, much more difficult in lots of ways than when you get to Bramall Lane and the Burnley. It's a different challenge, but honestly, they're more difficult in lots of ways.
And how will you spend? I mean, we're coming out on Friday. How will you spend the Friday evening and Saturday morning? Obviously, it's a lunchtime game, televised and everything. Are you going to do the normal? Are you going to have them together in a hotel?
No. We'll just do the normal. It plays havoc with the dog walking because you're trying to get a good dog walking on a Saturday morning, first of all. So that's going to have to come forward. And I'll be in Darley Park probably earlier than normal on Saturday morning. Try and get to the game. Not too early. Probably be what time do the team sheets have to be in an hour and a quarter. That's 11 o'clock. So probably get there about 10:15, something like that. And just prepare as normal. We'll pick the team, the staff the day before. We'll let the lads know probably. It messes up their preparation a little bit in terms of food because they've got to have the pre-match at 9 o'clock, which they'll have at home, which is quite early to be. They all have different things. Not many have pasta certainly at that. time on a Saturday morning. I don't know anybody who could
No.
face that. So they might have beans on toast or whatever, or porridge or something like that, and then they'll just arrive at the game as normal.
And now that the national attention has been on Mansfield, you know, fantastic win up at Sheffield United, some of the goals, and then winning at Burnley as well. Suddenly, the whole national spotlight is on the team. A lot of these are young lads. You know, you're saying you've got a couple of lone players from Spurs. How are you going to stop them from getting starstruck?
You can't really. You just explain to them, listen, game of football, once the whistle goes, just go out there and give it everything. Don't think about the opposite. That's why I don't think about and concentrate them on too much. Just concentrate on yourselves and give it everything you can, and see what happens from there. And the only way the young players, it's brilliant experience for them, because the only way you get experience of it is being involved in it in the first place.
Yeah.
No young player can be prepared for it in 19 and 20 because you've never been through it before. Now, when they hope to go back to Spurs or whatever, then if they're involved in a very big game of this nature, well, I'll tell you what, I can recall my experience when we played Arsenal or whatever, and it stands them in good stead for the future. There's so many teams, when they start out with Liverpool in the early Klopp eras and Pep or whatever, they didn't win the first cup final or so. The team have to get through it and get over that hurdle, and then once they've got through it and they've won one or two, then it becomes a lot easier for them after that.
Yeah, I must admit, I haven't done my research here, Amy, so you can tell your lecture off, but I don't know what the set piece stats are like in League One this year, but obviously at Arsenal, they are just scoring from set pieces so regularly. Will you do any pre-match data analysis on that?
Yes, we always cover the set plays. That's the main thing. We'll do a little bit of the shape of the opposition and one or two, not too much, but one or two sort of strengths and weaknesses. But set plays will always play a big part. Long throw-ins, free kicks, corners for and against, because it's a big part of football all the way through in League One as well. Very, very difficult when other Premier League sides can't stop them scoring. It becomes quite a challenge for us to say, well, we're going to stop them. The two big lads are centre halves, the Gabriel and Saliba. I just hope they don't play.
Is there all the sort of wrestling and everything in League One? No VAR, obviously.
Yeah, no VAR, but not as much.
Okay.
Not as much as you're seeing in the Premier League.
VAR comes in, doesn't it, in the fifth round? Actually?
We have got VAR, which
Okay.
I think is inappropriate to say the least, because we've only ever had VAR once in 5.5 years at Mansfield, and that was at Wembley in the playoff final. So I don't see why. I think it's almost an advantage for Arsenal to have it, because they're used to it. If you've not played it, you either play it all the competition or you don't play it at all. I don't think you should bring it in at a certain point.
Do you think that's going to kind of impact what you tell your players? Obviously, you want them to just do the same.
Just do the same. Don't think about it.
Yeah.
They're aware that with VAR you don't get away with anything.
Yeah.
I saw the goal from Leeds v Sunderland last night, and the handball, it wasn't given by the referee, and all of a sudden they look back at it. I think one thing that VAR has done is it's made the corners more relevant, more important even in the Premier League, because I think goalkeepers were a little bit overprotected. So referees tended to err on the side of safety, and if a goalkeeper looked as though he was fouled, they'd give a free kick. Now they're giving the goal, and then they're looking back, and they're saying on Sunday the Chelsea goalkeeper protested straight away and said that he thought he'd been fouled. They'll look back, and within 10 seconds, well, nobody touched you. Yeah. So I think that's had a positive effect, and why there's more goals and more emphasis on the corners as well.
Yeah. And what are you expecting of the day? What constitutes success for Mansfield Town on Saturday?
I'm not sure. Obviously, you don't want to get thrashed. That's a certain one thing. And at home, it gives you a better chance of that not happening. If you go to the Emirates, and we had the experience 9 years ago of going to Man City with Burton in the semi-final of the League Cup, and they beat us 9-0. Exeter had similar this season. They got lost 10-1. They can do that to you, especially on their own pitch. I hope with the state of our pitch, which after the torrential rain last week, we just about got the game on Saturday against Wimbledon. At 2:00 it was touch and go, and it's quite ironic that you're what you call on the grass, because there's not a lot of that. There's not a lot of that on the Mansfield pitch at the moment. There's quite a bit of mud, probably more mud than any of the Arsenal players have seen before.
So you're hoping that comes into your favour? Yeah,
it has to. It has to, because we won't do anything. We won't mess with the pitch or anything like that. We don't do things like that. We'll make it the best we can. But it is a League One pitch that's had a lot of adverse weather and a lot of rain in the last couple of months. A lot of League One pitches are like this, and above Championship pitches are one or two. But I remember talking to Phil Neal. I remember the Liverpool player who was fantastic. He said there's only two things missing from modern football, Premier League football. He said the two M's. He He said mud and mortgages.
I know what you're saying.
Absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on. They don't experience mud.
Yeah.
You look back to some of the games when, even in Forest European Cup semi-finals, never mind going back to the baseball ground,
Yeah.
they were played on absolute mud heaps and still incredibly good games.
Have you come across Mikel Arteta?
He was assistant at Man City.
Okay.
For the 9-0 drubbing, didn't see him so much afterwards, but and then when we played the second leg at Burton, he didn't come in. I think Pep came in and everything, but obviously he'll get to meet the dog when he comes to Mansfield on Saturday. So, but I think they have a dog at Arsenal at the training ground, don't
Yeah,
they?
I've seen that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do. Yeah.
Well-being.
Yeah.
Win, is it?
Yeah, it's called
Yeah,
Win.
they're therapy dogs.
Yeah.
They call them therapets, don't they? They go to
Yeah.
schools, hospitals, and Bobby's been in this morning, and the lads are in the gym doing a little bit, and she's going round giving them a little cuddle and saying, giving a sniff and saying hello to everybody, and have an incredibly calming influence. And
Yeah.
I'm not surprised he's got them at the training ground because it benefits everybody.
So would you say the key is really just not overthink it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can go into, we can watch Arsenal for the last 10 games. It doesn't work frighten the life out of us.
Yeah.
You saw that at the Tottenham game. It's North London derby away from home. They absolutely dominated the game. So you can frighten yourself. There's no point in doing that.
Well, we've seen some pretty good upsets already, haven't we?
Oh, incredible.
Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Mansfield
Oh my
is,
goodness.
in Port Vale last
You know,
night. I quite fancied
yeah.
Port Vale last night. Their pitches, Southern or whatever, and Bristol City, and they get a win in
Yeah.
extra time, and now they've got Sunderland on Sunday. Brilliant for them. I think that Macclesfield's exploits have sort of reignited everybody's sort of a little bit of passion for the FA Cup. The
Bit of
fact,
hope.
yeah, as well.
Yeah.
The fact that somebody from 6-7 leagues down, or whatever the conference National League North is, can knock out the holders is incredible. No other country, honestly, no
It
other
was
country.
absolutely mental. I could not.
And then get to play another Premier League club and just lose 1-0 to Brentford,
Yeah.
and get so close in that one as
Yeah.
well. No other
Do
club.
you
It's the
watch
strength
those
of the league.
games? Let's say coming
Bits
into
of them.
this, just
Yeah.
to kind of see what they did to
Yeah.
maybe
Well,
put
bits
the
of-
better teams off.
Macclesfield's achievements are incredible. They do play on an artificial, which is it's an unusual artificial. And the Brentford and Crystal Palace players, no excuse, and still incredible, but it does play a little part in it. So no, we don't really. We just watch the highlights. There's that much for us to concentrate on at our level. We don't really get the time.
Yeah. What about? I mean, your Burton team obviously held Manchester United, Cristiano Ronaldo, Wayne Rooney et al. At the Pirelli. I mean, you've been in the game so long that you've had a lot of experiences, played at the top level and everything. But does that sort of game with Burton inform this at all, or is it
Gives you
just
hope.
different?
Gives you hope. It's different, but
Yeah.
it just gives you hope. We didn't think they had a cat and hell's chance going into that. We were a conference side, and you got Manchester United coming, and when we saw the team was very strong starting 11. Sahar was up front and everything. PK played centre half,
Yeah.
and actually gave a penalty away. It was a handball, and Howard Webb didn't give it. And it was actually a penalty. He gave the free kick the other way, and he admits, I think now, we should have had an actual penalty. And the biggest one who was shouting it wasn't a penalty was our chairman at Burton, Ben Robinson.
Give me the
Give me
replay.
the replay. That's the thing. That is the.
Oh yeah, no
the fact of it.
replays.
Yeah, we've got no replays now.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
The replay.
What do you think
at
of that,
Old
by
Trafford,
the way?
I don't agree with it.
Because let's say you get a point, a draw on Saturday. That means
You can fluke a 90-minute, and
Yeah.
and keep a clean sheet. They can miss a few chances and might get lucky. Very difficult to do that. But we can't over 120 minutes for a start. You've got penalties, but I don't agree with it. And all this too many games and everything. Well, we play a lot more games in League 1 and 2 than the Premier League. I always think because of the magnitude of the game that would mean so much to the lower league team, I think that they should be allowed on that sort of premise. And you can't change the rules or whatever. But if you have a lower league team like we're playing Arsenal, if we did get a replay at 60,000, it's life-changing money for the club, as it was for Burton.
Yeah.
That gave Burton the foundation for the next 10, 15 years. They would not be where they are now without that one game.
Yeah.
That can be the importance of it. Exeter had Man U and went to Old Trafford. Honestly, it's such a lifeline for small clubs.
Yeah.
I think last time we had you on, I wasn't here, but Pete was. You talked about kind of trying to survive in League One a little bit more. Coming on to this season now, has your mindset of the coach changed at all? Did you learn much from last year?
Yeah, it's hard to survive.
No.
If Mansfield Town survive again in League One. It was 35 years. It was 20 years since it'd been promoted, and it was 35 years since it actually stayed in League One. That's how difficult it is. If we do it again, I don't know the last time it's had 2 seasons in League One. That has to be the bottom line. it's getting harder because the money that's being spent in the big boys went to Wrexham and Birmingham, and now challenging for the Premier League. That's how good they were and how good their budgets and financial resources and everything. Now they've gone. There's still some big hitters. The massive wage bill, Mansfield, it's Cardiff. It's 8 ex-Premier League clubs again. Our fans are loving it in terms of we can stay in it because they get to go to stadiums that when they were Mansfield in the National League Conference or whatever, some of these teams in the Premier League.
So Nigel, we've got a few questions from the audience for you. Just ask 2 or 3. So we're going to start off with Keely, who asks, what's one thing you would advise your younger self as a coach?
Try and find something better to do.
It's not been that bad, has it?
It's tough. Yeah, a coach is different to a manager from the start. So I would probably say stay a coach. Don't become a manager.
Okay, and what would you say the difference is between a coach and a manager?
We haven't got time.
Okay.
A manager deals with all the problems, and a coach will, have a better relationship with the players and have a much more enjoyable role, I hope.
Okay. And Will asked, did you have a mentor when you first started out coaching?
No, but being brought up in the sort of house I was brought up in, then that was as big a mentor sort of situation as you will get, being involved in and around dressing rooms since being 5-6 years old, something like that. It couldn't have been a better education.
Perfect. And John finally asks, why do you expect players with a low goal scoring record to suddenly change? Why is it a surprise when they miss chances like they've always done? I think he means, why do you expect when players who score a lot of goals suddenly drop off?
Well, it's the hardest thing to do in football. It always has been, always will be. And we don't expect them to score. We if they get 3 chances in a game, we wouldn't expect them to score 2 goals. We just think when we had 29 shots against Peterborough, say a couple of 2-3 weeks ago, and we ended up scoring 1 goal, that sort of ratio is not good enough.
Is there anything specifically you do with these players who might have a dip in performance?
No. Sometimes you stay away from it, and they want to practice finishing. Sometimes best not to do any.
Yeah.
Just leave it and just let it happen naturally on the pitch. And you
really
can't help them to. You just need to get out of it yourself as a player as well. If you haven't scored for 5 or 6 games and you're a striker, well, there's nothing we can do. You just need to do a little bit better. Concentrate on hitting the target. Don't snatch at things and don't go for silly things. Players sometimes think, I'll score from 30 yards when I haven't scored from 6 games. No, you're highly unlikely to do that. Just keep getting in the penalty area and keep doing the right things.
Brilliant. And then finally, one more. Ian says, as a Mansfield Town fan, can you thank him for everything and tell him you're never allowed to retire? There you go.
I can refer that to my wife if you can. I don't think that'd go down too well.
So there's a very nice one
in our house, but no, it's getting closer by the day.
Brilliant.
And then just to kind of end the show, we always kind of take a bit of a grassroots spin on it towards the end. So obviously I play for Duffield Dynamo ladies, and I know both your children did.
They did, yeah.
If you could give one piece of advice to a grassroots coach or a grassroots audience for them to help improve, what would that be?
To improve as a coach,
Yeah.
very, very difficult. I think your qualifications are always important. They can't always do them as a grassroots coach because it's time and money and everything, but they certainly do help. And just, I think, especially when you're dealing with sort of children, just make sure they enjoy it and enjoy playing football. Don't take it that seriously. And also for the parents and everything, I think that's a bigger problem than the children at the moment. Just enjoy watching your children play football, and don't get too het up and don't take it too seriously, because that's what it should be at that age. It should be enjoyable more than anything.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us again today.
Thank
It's
you.
been a pleasure to have you here. Thank you to everyone watching at home, the latest episode of On the Grass. Make sure to check our socials to keep up to date with all the On the Grass updates, and we'll see you all again soon.